You're watching South Asia Newsline, and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Friday, the 20th of June. India's PM Modi inaugurated key projects in Bihar amid poll push. 1 week on, Ahmedabad recounts horror of Air India crash, which killed more than 250. And Bangladesh declares national holiday to mark year of Sheikh Hasina's ouster. And now for all the details. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday inaugurated and laid the foundation stone of 32 development projects worth rupees 5,735 crore in Bihar's Siwan ahead of the upcoming state assembly elections. The projects span water, rail, power, urban development and connectivity, including 22 urban schemes. Modi flagged off a new Vande Bharat Express between Patliputra and Gorakhpur and inaugurated the Vaishali-Deoria rail line, built at over rupees 400 crore. He also announced that locomotive engines manufactured in Bihar's Madhora rail factory will be exported to Africa. The Prime Minister also handed over keys to over 6,600 beneficiaries of PM's housing scheme and launched 6 new road projects. In his address, Modi attacked the Congress and RJD, blaming them for Bihar's past jungle raj and backwardness. He credited the NDA for building 55,000 kilometers of rural roads, electrifying 1.5 crore homes, and providing piped water to 26 crore households. This marks Modi's 5th visit to Bihar in 2025, underscoring the BJP-led NDA's aggressive outreach ahead of the high-stakes assembly polls later this year. 1 week on, Ahmedabad is haunted by the Air India crash that left more than 250 dead. The disaster, which saw flight AI 171 plummet into a civil hospital hostel, has scarred Gujarat's vibrant heart. From a miraculous survival to families' anguish, eyewitnesses recall what went down on June 12th. We have a report.
On June 12, 2025, Ahmedabad witnessed one of the world's deadliest air disasters when Air India Flight I-171 to London crashed into a civil hospital hostel seconds after takeoff, killing 241 of 242 on board and around 30 on the ground. A week later, the city mourns deeply, with only one miraculous survivor. Ambulance supervisor Satinder Singh Sandhu, among the first responders, found a disoriented man near the wreckage, Vishwas Kumar Ramesh, a Briton of Indian origin. Critically injured, he was rushed to civil hospital. His survival is a faint glimmer of hope in a disaster that obliterated the lives of 169 Indians, 53 Britons, 7 Portuguese and 1 Canadian, along with 12 crew members.
पहले तो जैसे मैं वहाँ पे पहुँचा तो इतना बड़ा आग का जो बवंडर फैला हुआ था उसको देखकर हम लोग खुद टेंशन में आ गए थे कि ऐसा क्या हो गया कि इतनी पब्लिक जो आसपास है वो पूरा जो हॉस्टल था उसको आग की चपेट में आ गया है। वहाँ पे हमने देखा कि वहाँ पे एक जो लोकल पर्सन था, एक जो वाइट टी शर्ट पहने हुए था, वो घूम रहा था, तो कभी अंदर जा रहा था कभी बाहर आ था, तो मैंने उसको रोका अंदर जाने के लिए। अंदर जाने के लिए रोकने के बाद मैंने देखा उसके हेड फेस पे इंजरी थी, हाथ पे इंजरी थी, तो मैंने मेरे 108 की टीम को उनको दिया, हैंडओवर दिया, उनको बोला कि आप इनको पहले हॉस्पिटल पहुंचाइए। बाद में शाम को हमको पता चला कि जो मैंने वो पर्सन को बचाया था, जिनको एम्बुलेंस में शिफ्ट किया था हॉस्पिटल में, वो प्लेन में से बचा हुआ विश्वास था, एक मतलब विश्वास था, जो बाकी जो पैसेंजर थे वो सब डेथ हो गए थे सर।
Eyewitnesses still struggle to describe the chaos when the Boeing 787 Dreamliner crashed into the hostel, triggering a fireball and massive destruction. Just 200 to 300 meters from the civil hospital, the crash could have been even deadlier, say locals. Those nearby recall a loud blast, followed by smoke and scenes of horror, people with burned clothes and peeling skin, helpless against the flames.
बड़ा ही भयानक हादसा था। हमने कभी सपने में भी ऐसा नहीं सोचा होगा ऐसा बड़ा हादसा, क्योंकि आप जानते हैं जहाँ पे हम खड़े हैं यही सिविल हॉस्पिटल का कैंपस है, यहीं पे हम लोग की ड्यूटी रहती है, हमारी पूरी टीम यहीं पे अवेलेबल रहती है। रोज़ यहाँ से प्लेन उड़ते हैं, कई संख्या में प्लेन उड़ते हैं, लेकिन हमने कभी ऐसा नहीं सोचा था कि प्लेन यहाँ पर क्रैश होगा। जैसा कि घटनास्थल यहाँ से 200 से 300 मीटर दूरी पे ही है। अगर थोड़ा भी एक सेकंड इधर उधर होता तो ये जो हॉस्पिटल का कैंपस है शायद यहाँ भी आ सकता था प्लेन, या पीछे रेसिडेंशियल एरिया है वहाँ पे भी आ सकता था। लेकिन कुदरत का करिश्मा ही है कि भाई वो जहाँ पे गिरे वहाँ पे मिनिमम नंबर ऑफ कैजुअलिटी हो पाई।
जब जैसे भी हम ऑफिस पे पहुँचे तो तुरंत कुछ ब्लास्ट हुआ ऐसा हमको आवाज़ सुनाई दिया, तो हमने देखा कि बहुत धुआं हो रहा, तो हम वहाँ पे चल के वापस देखने गए कि क्या हुआ है। जब हम वहाँ पे पहुँचे तो आगे भी 3-4 लोग खड़े थे, तो हमको ऐसा लगा कि वो भी हमारे जैसे कुछ देखने ही आए हैं। लेकिन जैसे हम नज़दीक गए तो वो पूरी तरह के जल चुके थे। एक आंटी भी थी, वो तो उनका तो सर कपड़े वपड़े जल गए थे, चमड़ी निकल रही थी, बहुत बुरी हालत थी। हमारे से जितनी हेल्प हुई हम करना चाहते थे, लेकिन आग इतनी थी कि हम कुछ कर नहीं पाए।
For victims' families, the past week has been agonizing. Identification relied on DNA and dental records. Investigators are still probing why the crash happened. But for families of the 271 dead, the wait for answers and closure continues.
लगातार एक हफ्ते से हम यहाँ ढूंढ रहे थे कि यहीं कहीं हॉस्पिटल में मिल जाए, कहीं यहाँ मिल जाए, क्योंकि बॉडी नहीं मिल रही थी और कुछ पता नहीं चल रहा था। और वो उनके साथ जो लोग थे वो सब निकल गए थे। यही दोनों हमारी भतीजी और हमारी जो सिस्टर है वहीं अंदर रह गए। तो हमें विश्वास ही नहीं हो रहा था कि ऐसा कुछ हुआ होगा। तो हम अपनी तरह से अलग अलग हॉस्पिटल में भी ढूंढ रहे थे, अलग अलग जगह से एक हफ्ते से ढूंढ ही रहे थे। लेकिन कल जब शाम को यहाँ सिविल में से ऐसा मैसेज आया, आपका डीएनए, हमारा जो डीएनए लिया हुआ था वो मैच हो गया है, तो ऐसा लगा, हादसा लगा कि चलो कुदरत ने हमारे साथ भी बुरा ही किया।
And Pakistan faces fresh outrage over enforced disappearances in Balochistan. In Turbat, a Baloch rights group has launched a sit-in protest demanding the release of detained human rights leaders, including Dr. Mahrang Baloch.
Leading Baloch human rights body, Baloch Yakjeti Committee has organized a 3-day sit-in protest against the illegal detention of leading Baloch human rights leaders starting Thursday. Baloch Yakjeti, in a post on Platform X, said that it has organized the protest in front of the Turbat Press Club against the illegal detention of key members of its leadership, such as Mahrang Baloch and Mahrang Baloch, who are illegally detained by Pakistani authorities. In another post, the BYC noted that their camp demands the immediate and safe release of all detained their leaders, including Dr. Mahrang Baloch, Bibo, Gulzadi and others, who are imprisoned simply for defending human rights. On June 22nd, it will be 3 months since Dr. Mahrang and others were detained. Civilians are abducted by state forces without due process in Balochistan. Human rights groups have long accused Pakistani authorities of using enforced disappearance as a tool to suppress dissent and intimidate communities in restive regions. Pakistani authorities have routinely denied involvement. However, rights organizations and Baloch civil society groups continue to protest in and outside of Pakistan for carrying out systematic abductions, with a focus on students, political workers, and residents of conflict-affected areas by the country's security forces and intelligence services.
And August 5th will mark a year since the ouster of Sheikh Hasina's government in Bangladesh. And to commemorate the date, the interim government has declared it Student People's Uprising Day and announced a nationwide public holiday. On August 5th last year, Hasina fled the country as a violent mob approached her residence, which was later ransacked. Cultural Affairs Advisor Mustafa Sarwar Farooqi announced that events will be held from July 14th to August 5th, including the unveiling of July Charter of Demands by the so-called Uprising. Hasina's party, Awami League, now banned under anti-terror laws, alleges the protests were led by Islamic radicals and aimed to assassinate Hasina. Since her ouster, minority communities, especially Hindus, have faced rising attacks. The interim government under Muhammad Yunus has now released several prisoners accused of terrorism. Elections are expected before Ramadan next year. Taliban authorities in southern Afghanistan have imposed a sweeping ban on smartphones in all schools and madrassas across Kandahar province, a move they claim will enforce educational discipline and align with Islamic values. The order, issued by the Provincial Education Department, prohibits students, teachers and administrative staff from bringing smartphones onto school grounds. The Education Department's directive announced this week bans smartphones to prevent what officials called the destruction of the future generation. The statement emphasized that the decision was rooted in a sharia perspective, aiming to foster focus on studies and shield students from distraction posed by digital devices. The ban extends to madrassas or Islamic religious schools, aligning with the Taliban's broader efforts to limit access to modern technology and visual media. While Taliban's move echoes policies in countries like France, Denmark and Brazil, where classroom mobile phone ban have been implemented to reduce distractions, in Afghanistan, the ban's implications are heightened by the Taliban's restrictive educational policies, particularly for girls and the country's limited access to alternative learning resources. The Kandahar ban aligns with the Taliban's broader efforts to regulate technology and media since their return to power in 2021. Previous measures include restricting internet access in some regions and banning certain forms of photography and videography deemed un-Islamic. Moving on, the Sericulture Development Department in India's Jammu and Kashmir has organized a Cocoon auction market to benefit farmers. This special initiative is empowering a large number of farmers to get fair prices for their produce and generate good revenue. Cocoon rearing is a key livelihood in the region. The government's HADP, Holistic Agriculture Development Program in Jammu and Kashmir, includes a scheme focused on cocoon rearing. It is also empowering women farmers with resources and financial assistance to support their cocoon rearing activities. The Kashmiri silk, especially, is famous for its luster and resistibility to insects. Thus, it makes an ideal fabric among silk fabrics from other regions.
डिपार्टमेंट का भी जो प्रोडक्शन है वो बेहतर हो और किसान को भी 10-20-50 हज़ार रुपये अगर आ जाए एक महीने में ख़राब बात नहीं है। तो इसके लिए मैं सब किसान भाइयों से अपील करता हूँ कि सब इसमें आएँ और अच्छे से काम करें और ख़ासकर हमारे जो प्लांटेशन है उसको बचाएं। प्लांटेशन की सबसे ज़्यादा कमज़ोरी है नारियाँ वगैरह में और वो बकरियाँ वगैरह जो खा लेती हूँ उसकी वजह से, तो प्लांट अच्छे हों तो बेहतर है।
अभी जो तकरीबन हमारा जो है सेरिकल्चर में जो है तकरीबन यहाँ 10 दिन मंडी हो गई है और मुझे लगता है कि 10 दिन में हम 3 करोड़ से क्रॉस करके आमदनी जो है हमारी वो 3 करोड़ से आगे निकल चुकी है। और अभी जो है पूरा महीना हमें और भी जून का महीने में हमारी मार्केट जो है नौशहरा में भी अभी चलनी है। तो इस हिसाब से मैं तमाम अपने किसान भाइयों से हमारे HADP प्रोग्राम और भी सेरिकल्चर के रिलेटेड जो हैं अलाइड डिपार्टमेंट एग्रीकल्चर के वो सभी मुश्तरका आपस में इकट्ठे होके एक ड्राइव चला रहे हैं कि किसानों की आमदनी को दुगना करने के लिए।
That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time next week. Have a great weekend. Good night.